Hello everyone, Ringo781 back here with another video on what is pretty much my favourite topic to talk about at the moment, and it is data analysts in Football Manager 2021 and how do they actually work. I have done a little, just like a little experiment save here with West Ham. I've not played any of these games. All I did was set up tactics, do a little bit of training, and simulate up until March. The idea being was to find a club where data analysts are relied on heavily in real life. We've spoken so much about Brentford, but Brentford actually have quite a few scouts on this game. And the way it works best, I've found, is if you have all your data, your data analysts, your recruitment analysts, performance analysts, whatever, and one scout. West Ham operate in this manner in real life. It's how they found Vladimir Sufal and Tomi Soucek. They have one scout. In this instance, I believe it's Robbie Cook. Jordan Miles is a chief scout, but is also a recruitment analyst, so I can't get rid of him. Otherwise, I'd get rid of a recruitment analyst. Because he's both, it gives me an extra one, which is why Jordan Miles gets kept around. But we do have this guy, which is Robbie Cook, who um, many people will know his name from the game, and I know him from his time at Everton. He's one of David Moyes' sort of most cherished scouts. um, but the idea is your recruitment analysts go out, they find the players. You can either then get your performance analyst to analyze their performances over a period of time, or you can just get your key scout, somebody who's got really good judging potential ability and judging current ability, to go and have a little look at these guys. So how do you set it up? Basically, it's very similar vein to how you set up normal scouting. You want to take control of all of this in your staff responsibilities. You want to click on your scouting. You want to assign scouts you want to set to yourself, and handling scouting means you want to go to yourself. You can also have own team and opposition analyst reports, but that's your performance analysts who do that. So once you've set that up, you want to click on your scouting and you want to click on this. This is very, very important. Depending on the size of the club that you are, your recruitment package is found here. Your scouting budget is found at the top there. What I've found this method to be very good for is saving money on actually sending your scouts out. So you can see my scouting budget was 720 grand. We've got a remaining budget of 330 grand in March. That's because no one's actually out on assignment. What you want to do though is you want to set this to the highest possible recruitment package you can, whether that means changing your scouting budget to take some out of your transfer budget and put that in there. Obviously, the more players to analyse, the better. So you can, drop it down into your scouting budget if you want to be more. This will work very well if you're a lower league team and you can manage to push that up to a world budget, because your analysts will literally just scour the globe. And here's the proof in this, and I only figured this out when I was doing this experiment this morning. It says here, if you click on the highlights, it says the package owns determines the number of players available to search through, as well as increasing the knowledge level and player role visibility of the players covered. Here's the important part. Recruitment analysts will use these packages to suggest potential signings, and that is the crucial part of how data analysts work on the game. Your recruitment package basically dictates how successful they are. Obviously, the individual attributes will play a massive part in this. I've got a couple of regen ones here. Aiden Smith, 17 analysing data and 17 judging potential ability. I would tend to judge his data more so over, let's say, Luke Stopforth, who in his own right is very good, but he's 15 and 13. We've got another one here. I believe Joseph Moore's another. Oh no, he's not. But again, 14, 14, and then we've got another new gen guy in Dion Wheats. Dion Wheat. I'm not Dutch. But yeah, you tend to judge their scouting over anyone else's. But yeah, once you've done that, you can do a couple of things. You can either just leave it like I've done and then just check up on it periodically. It will pop up in your scouting tab. So Joseph Moore, one of the recruitment analysts, he has suggested Todd Cantwell, and then you can see a little overview of it here. Or if you want to, if you click on the assignments tab, not many people know this. This is where the performance analyst side of it comes in. If you click on assignments and then you want to click on create new assignment, you can actually set your performance analyst. So if you click on team, you can go ongoing analyst reports, and this can be on opposition matches, and you can set it to anyone. You can set your recruitment analyst to this. You can set your performance analyst to it. It's entirely how you want to do it. In this instance, we've not quite looked into it because it was only it's an experiment. It's a work in progress. This is probably going to be the next video on how do these actually affect the scouting. But again, you can set it to do that, and it will just be ongoing. That'll be forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And they will look at next opposition players. That's what you've got to think about with that. So your analyst team will report on your next opposition strengths and weaknesses, as well as performing post-match analysis on your own team. So if you can't get a good recruitment analyst in, but you've got a good performance analyst, you can just use this, and vice versa. But I would suggest leaving that blank, or only suggesting that your performance analyst look at those players. So once that's in, again, same as if you're looking at Scouted, you click on the Analyze tab as you're shown in the last video, and it's going to pop up with an extensive list. Hopefully, yeah, we've got 141 players there. Sorry, 182 it's popped up with. I've added a few things to this. I've added the minutes to it, and I've added the value. I've also filtered, again, this to the unsure. You can pop them off if need be, and it'll change it up. You can change it to interested, and that'll probably drop the number down quite rapidly. Yeah, 115, 163. Yeah, so I always do it on unsure because you can always pop those players a couple of extra grand a week. And then this is where you then scout. You can judge it by recommendation. Um, One thing I have noticed when doing this though, and I'll try and find an example for you now, the recommendation, although it is similar to the scouting tab and in the traffic light system, you do get the odds one that comes up who's quite low, sort of within the 50s, but it's a green traffic light. There you go. There's one there. Mike Magnan. Um, you can see he's only got one con, so it's something to look out for. Who analysed him? It doesn't tell you. That's one of the most frustrating things. It doesn't actually tell you who did it, but you can find out. So if you were to click on staff, you click on, let's just say this guy. You click on reports and then analyst reports. It'll tell you how many. So he's come back with 43. Could potentially have come back with Mike Magnan. You don't know. It also shows you the guys that he's in the process of either currently analysing or ones that he's analysed in the past. Let's just see if Mike Magnan's on here. No, so he's not done that. So we know Aiden's not done that. We trust Aiden quite well. We're going to click on now for Dion. Did Dion do it? And so on, so forth. No, it wasn't Dion. So it's going to be one of the other guys. But again, it's fine. That's just proof that you can drill down on who to do it, and you can judge who you want to judge. You can trust who you want to trust. So players and analysed. And then again, this is where you drill down into it. As I said, the traffic light system isn't as in, not that it's not as in depth, but because it's number of cons, I tend to do it based on that rather than recommendation. Sometimes the recommendation, they're recommending players that you're just never going to get a hold of at your club. Let's see. Actually, to be fair, in this instance, there's not many that probably wouldn't come to us. But you look at like this guy, like Frank Onyeka, it tells you the notable pro and then obviously the notable con, as we covered in the past, and the number of pros versus the number of cons. You can just pop into, click in his analyst report, and it'll tell you comparative based on that. You can see his form, etc., etc. Compares him to the positional player in your team. So in this instance, in my tactic, Pablo Fornals is playing as like the central midfielder, so it's going to compare his distance covered to Pablo Fornals' distance covered. And one thing we didn't notice last time, on the role analysis, it'll tell you stats related to the three Superliga, which is of a lower quality than our own division. So if you were if you were trying to look for someone who would definitely come in and make pretty much an instant impact, you can check it by doing this. So if you click on your home tab, not to say that the guys from the lower division won't. I very often scout from lower divisions, but this is just another way of showing what you can do. You want to click on the profile for the Premier League, and it will tell you the competition reputation within 8 places of where you're ranked. So anyone above us, Liga Santander, and then below us, the ones below, it normally just says of a similar division, and then the ones below the GP Pro League, it'll say of like a lower standard, as proven with Frank Onyeka in Denmark. So what I'd do, again, players, analysed. You can do it by recommendation, you can do it by number of cons. It's entirely up to you. It depends how you want to do this. Do it by number of cons. We've got a few guys on zero, but you can see these have been analysed quite recently. Someone like this guy, Joe Bursic, England under 21 goalkeeper. We are West Ham. We have got Peter Fabianski, Lucas Fabianski, who's getting on there or thereabouts. The analyst is saying he's saved 100% of his penalties. He's won 3 player of the matches, 5 clean sheets. Saves per 90 minutes is up at 3, so he's a little bit higher than Fabianski. Very good average rating, and for a player at the age of, 21 was he? He's got 61 career appearances, 20 years of age and 61 career appearances. What I'd then do is I'd go to a sign scout, Robbie Cook, until full knowledge, and it's as simple as that. You can even assign an analyst from your analyst pool. If you want one of your performance analysts to look at them, and it'll just pop up a bit more data about them, you can do that. But we all know how overpowered the scouting can be on this game if you've got somebody who's high, in sort of like the high 17s to 20s, so you can pretty much judge that. And that is essentially it. Obviously, this guy looks a good player. He's on a low contract. He's not that valuable, but if you ask the agents about availability, they're probably going to want quite a bit for him because he's an England under 21 international. But what I've found, because you're scouring the world, you can find some cheap players doing this. Is there anybody around here that just catches the eye? Probably not going to cost a lot. There's Sene Lammers, who is a goalkeeper playing for Club Bruges. I've popped minutes on there because obviously if they're analysing someone who's not played many minutes, there's not an awful lot of data to suggest that he's that good. So we sort of want the guys that have played a fair bit. Let's see. So yeah, let's just say we were looking at another goalkeeper. We've got Arnold Bodart. He's 23 years of age. Attribute-wise, I mean, for the goalkeeper, he's 5'11", so his command of area and aerial reach aren't going to be great. His communication's not the best. Eccentricity sort of means how sporadic they are. So this reflects the goalkeeper's attribute to do a tendency to do the unexpected with or without the ball. So, think of Rennie Higuita doing the scorpion kick. He'd have 20 eccentricity. But again, he's got 3 pros and 2 cons. Click on his report. It's not going to show you a scout report. Click on his analyst report. It relates to the Jupiler Pro League, which is of a lower quality, as again stated earlier. Clean sheet 6, saves per 90 minutes is a little bit less than Fabianski, but he makes a lot of clearances, which would suggest he's probably playing as like a sweeper keeper, despite not really having the attributes for sweeper keeper, in my opinion. I prefer him to be a bit more centric and a better first touch, although he has got very good kicking actually, and decent vision. Again, ask agents about availability. Again, they're probably going to want a bit more money. But to me, he's sort of an undervalued goalkeeper. You could probably come in for fairly cheap, in all honesty. Is he somebody I'll go for? He probably is. He's probably got room to grow as well. Obviously, if you're not sort of looking at age and thinking about selling value and sort of playing like the money ball of it, you can go for like these guys if you need like a quick fix. So we've got Baghdad Bounedjah. He is a Algerian striker playing over in Qatar for Al Sadd. Attribute wise, looks okay. You can see he's got a 98 recommendation. He unexpected positive. He's won 100% of his tackles so far this season. How many tackles has he made? Best thing about this, you can literally just click in season stats there, and bang, it takes you straight to it. It's not as intensive as the individual one that I do, but it tells you a little bit about what you need to know, but only shows you the competitions that you have got detail level loaded. If you look the league that he's playing in, he's actually played 26 times in that league. With a tackle per 90 of sort of 1 tackle per 90, but because we don't have the Qatari league loaded, it won't show that. That's one thing you've got to look out for. But again, if you wanted a quick fix, he's probably going to be the guy to go to. Again, just to prove to you that the cons aren't necessarily all that, let's look at someone who's got a fair few cons offsetted to his pros. So we got Paul Onuachu. That's probably, a bit of both. Um, his major negatives offsides is 30 compared to Michael Antonio, who has only got 3. What that would suggest to me, he's probably not mobile or as mobile or playing a similar role to Michael Antonio. Just to sort of put further proof to the pudding, Paul Onuachu is a target man. He's a 6'7" target man. He's not actually, to be fair, for the 6'7" guy, he is quite mobile. But with him playing as a target man, he's going to stay at the other end of the pitch, which would suggest that Genk more than likely just pump the ball up to him. So if a team's playing a higher line, he's not going to drop back. Whereas we've got Mikhail Antonio in this formation playing as a complete forward, which means he drops off. So as a negative, as a con, it is a con in relation to um, it's a con in relation to Michael Antonio and having 3 offsides, but you've got to put it into context. Possession lost 195 compared to Michael Antonio's 82. As I say, Michael Antonio will drop off. He will pass the ball a lot more, whereas Onuachu probably tries to flick ons with him being a target man. Distance covered is not going to be as much as somebody who's playing complete forward. His pass completion is decent, to be fair, and his possession won. He's not there to win tackles and whatnot. But then you just look at this. Goals, positive wise, he scored 10 goals, which is top in the Pro League, compared to Antonio's 3. Shots on target, 27 compared to 9. Shots in general, 50 compared to 20. His shots per 90, 3.38 compared to 2.37. His XG is higher. He wins his headers, but he's a target man. Average minutes per goal is a lot less than Mikhail. Key headers, key passes, etc., etc. Then again, you can send your scouts to look at them, or you can just ask about availability, sort of get a quick preliminary of what you would expect. He wants to play plenty of playing time, so that suggests he probably wants like a regular starter, or maybe you could get away with a squad player. But again, drop a report, Robbie Cook, and then until full knowledge. So it's just another way of thinking about the game and thinking about how scouting. I like it this way because scouting in real life is more done this way. From what I can tell and what I've read online and what I've seen or heard of, when you see like people talking about like Leicester City, for example, they probably don't have many scouts scouring the globe. They have more analysts working internally, and then they'll send a scout out to look at a guy an analyst has found, much in the way that Brentford do. But don't be put off by these cons, guys, because it's all relative and comparative to your stuff. You need to make the judgment on that. You need to make a judgment. Is this guy going to fit well in my tactic? Is this guy going to fit well playing as an advanced forward? But if he's offside so much, maybe his anticipation's not great. Maybe he's not as mobile as this guy. It is trial and error, to be honest with you. But I have found some wonderful, wonderful players doing this, and some for dirt cheap, as you've seen on the Monchi method save when we got Angelo Fenari in on a free transfer. I think it cost us 275k in compensation. Um, just a wonderful, wonderful player. Um, but that is going to be that, guys. Let me know if this interests you. Let me know if you'd like a follow up to it. Maybe looking at how performance analysts look at sides of the game and how they can get involved in scouting. Um, it's just a different way of looking at the game, one which will add value to your team. I've got no doubt about that. As you can see me just clicking through, you can see there's a fair few young players on here. Um, Even someone like, let me see, Alan Bidard. He's played a lot of football in the second tier of France. He's not a Premier League player by any means. League One, if you were a League One team, you could probably get him in fairly cheap. Got a bit of room to grow, sell him on. Similar to, let's see who else we've got here. Let me see. Is there anyone who's sticking out? So sort of like this guy, Brooklyn Leons Foster. If his determination was in the tens, I'd definitely sign him because he's got room to grow. Um, Again, you can see the traffic light; it's saying 58 compared to your squad, but obviously he's 20 years of age, so he's got room to grow. Um, it's a very rewarding way of playing the game, and to me is a bit more realistic than literally just sending scouts out to every single corner of the globe looking at this specific um, just collection, the specific data set of players between the ages of 16 and 19 who have got release clauses in the South American divisions. That to me is not as realistic as doing your scouting like this. Realistically, would we have picked up Emmanuel Bio from scouting over in where's he playing in the second tier of Denmark? Probably not. Would I sign him? Probably not. But you never know. This is the point. You never know who's going to show up. The best thing about it showing the notable pros are, say, like you're looking for a young player who is going to create an awful lot of chances for your team, and you're looking through and you find this guy, Finn Becker, attribute wise, decent for a 20-year-old German, under 21 international at that as well, playing for St. Pauli. Look, he's wanted by Leipzig and Leverkusen, and it's part of a theory that I've always thought about this game is that the game uses these analytics in the background to do transfers. Have you ever played sort of like City and United and that, and they've got all these ridiculous wonder kids who they sign for buttons? I, in theory, think they use this type of method as like an algorithm in the background because Finn Becker is making 2.67 key passes per 90 minutes. He's only got an 84% pass completion, which would suggest that he's playing a bit more risky and he's trying a few more through balls through the channels, maybe a few more balls over the top. But you can just see um, he's got a fair few assists, a lot of key passes, really good average rating. Unexpected positive is that his clearances, so he can play in a defensive role as well from the looks of it. Deep line playmaker support. He's got decent tackling and decent anticipation, so he could potentially play as a DLP on defend. But there's a 20-year-old who could come in. If you could get a few of these 14s into 15, 16s and a few of the 12s into 13s, you've probably got a decent young undervalued player on your hands there. Um, but but that's it, lads. Let me know if you're interested in this scouting method. It's definitely something that I want to venture into going forward, and maybe do a save purely based on this, where we have one scout and a load of recruitment analysts, and they literally just pick the players out, and then we sign them based on this one scout's report on them. I think it would be really interesting to see how far we could go with that. Would it be a Premier League team? Probably not, because you're probably not going to find the players. Maybe Mike Magnan, he might be one that you could sign for a Premier League team now. The only they're saying his average rating is as negative because it's less, but it's more than Lucas Fabianski's, but it's less than most players in League on Uber Eats. What I have found though is that doesn't compare to just goalkeepers. That's everybody. So yeah, see what I mean? Although clean sheets and career appearances, he's a very good, decent Premier League level footballer to me, and I'm pretty sure to you. But thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all next time.